All right, great. Here is my town administrator report for August 11th, 2026. Our next town administrator coffee hour will be next week, Tuesday, August 18th at 10 a.m. on the patio. We've had one where there was a ton of people on the patio and one where there wasn't. So we're hoping for a lot of interest about some of our building projects, your goals, and then of course the upcoming fall town meeting. In terms of our HR report, we are currently, and this comes from Aubrey, who's sitting right there, we are currently interviewing for the community service coordinator position. This is the joint position between REC and the COHS. We had over 25 applicants and a pretty robust hiring process for this important decision. So we should have an update on a final candidate by your next select board meeting that I can appoint and then describe to you. And lastly, I'll get into this in a second. We had a discussion with the Board of Health about their vacant position. It was a great conversation, and we're looking forward to working with them. In terms of department updates and information, the Governor Healy has signed H5308, which from a long time you'll remember was the town administrator bylaw. By a long time, I mean a year, but that is a long time in Carlisle. We officially have enacted this town administrator bylaw and are working on the implementation phase of it. And that includes communicating with all boards and employees to create shared understanding. This is less complicated than you think, as we've been operating under the premises of the TA bylaw since you delegated that authority last year. We also will eventually need to clean up bylaw references that discuss appointing authorities. For example, it says the building commissioner and the select board will appoint some of the part-time inspectors. That'll now be my appointment by this town administrator bylaw, so we need to clean some of that up. And lastly, we really think it's best practice to establish some memorandums of understanding with boards that hold independent appointing authority to align them with town policies. This commits them to the town personnel policies, not the appointment process. And it also makes sure that the staff direction, Aubrey and myself mainly, or our two positions, are also aligned with whoever that board delegates to work with us on HR issues. This is only a problem when it's a problem, and it's very rare, but it is important to discuss it while things are not in disagreement. Okay, I do want to thank a few people, specifically Travis, for helping steward this process, but also the select board and the many impacted boards and committees that came to discuss this. I understand that executive authority is something that is debated heavily in New England. I thought Carlisle's debate was excellent, and I understand that I'm in the position now, the trust that was given, and my commitment is to make sure that this is implemented thoughtfully and that it sets the town up for this particular practice in a positive way. So thank you to everyone for this process and for the trust you've given me. Moving on to the Civil War monument cleaning in the town, you may have noticed that the Goddess of Liberty received a bath. However, we identified that the 150-year-old Italian marble is very delicate, so we wanted to make sure that the right chemicals were being used. So there's still some work to be done as we identify that chemical and do a second treatment. In no way will we endanger the marble, so if we can't do it safely, we won't. She looks pretty good right now, but it could be cleaned up more, and we're working on it. But it did receive a lot of buzz on social media, and we received a lot of comments, to include the initial resident who reached out and asked that we clean the monument. So thank you for identifying that. I think that's great public process when people identify something that is so glaringly obvious, and we are able to work on it. And thanks to Jim for shepherding this project. It was a lot of work. We received a Green Communities grant. This is thanks to the Environmental Sustainability Committee, the MFC, and Sarah. We secured a $125,000 grant to help us with weatherization of Grant and Robbins. This is not only needed for the stuff we're doing with the RTU projects that's being funded by the Climate Leader process, it also helps with sustainability and energy use. And we'll continue to work through our decarbonization plan. I preface this a little bit. Board of Health staffing update. When Kelly left, our health director that followed Linda, we wanted to assist the Board of Health to provide recommendations about a staff restructuring, and they were kind enough to have us come in and listen to our presentation. Our recommendation included hiring a health coordinator or similar title maybe health agent, depending on what the Board of Health selected, with a path to becoming a director like many of our other departments. And this would include obtaining a registered sanitarian status. So having that director position come with that title would long-term save us some money and bring revenue into the town, because right now our registered sanitarian, who's excellent, is contracted, and that money goes directly to that service. It's a good service, but we think bringing the service in-house long-term is a good strategy for Carlisle. We also recommended sharing, as we've done with all the other land use departments, the assistant position, and some of the savings that would come from both of these moves could allow us to help implement a shared permitting software for the town, which I know is one of the select boards and the town's goals, and maybe allow us to digitize some of the records, which you talked about tonight. We're going to seek grant funding for that digitization as well, and we talked all about that with the Board of Health. They are deliberating what they want to do and should be providing some updates soon. But Aubrey and I worked hand in hand with them to try to make recommendations and help them work through their staffing process. If you've been to the transfer station recently, you notice there's a new shed. This is thanks to your vote and the advocacy of the Transfer Station Action Committee. The combined use of funds from last year and recycling grant money allowed this purchase to happen. And there's a picture of it in my report if you want to see it. All right, your first vote I'm asking for tonight. The board is being asked to approve the following gift made to the town of Carlisle. There is an anonymous donor looking to donate $2,000 to the town for the purpose of aiding those in need of financial assistance in procuring a burial lot in Green Cemetery. The allocation of these funds would be to the discretion of the cemetery superintendent and the town administrator's office, who work together in their capacities to aid such persons seeking burial space. The reason you're being asked to accept this, the donor wanted to make up the difference between the old cemetery fees and the new cemetery fees, and the only way to do that is through a gift, and this person specifically wanted that difference in money to help people purchase potential lots at Green Cemetery. So a very generous gift that requires your approval, unless you have any questions about it.
I just want to make sure this is not like a capital fund. It'll just be spent. We're not going to have to track it from keep it on, and then like we ended up with the cemetery before, where we ended up having a problem where we spent capital money that then we had to replenish.
That's a good question. That was a trust fund. That was a principal versus an interest, because it was a trust fund. This is just a gift, so it can be spent in its entirety and disappear.
But it would be used toward people for the cemetery.
Correct.
Right?
And who decides, who has the power to disperse in this case? Ryan, is the select board's accepting this, but is it the cemetery committee who actually acts on giving away the funds?
So this donor identified the cemetery superintendent, which is the DPW director, in my office, so staff, and the reason given was to protect privacy.
Yeah. So it's okay. So you guys would either someone would raise their hand, say they need financial assistance, and you guys would say yay or nay, and that's the end of it, right?
Correct.
Okay. And the funds are just held in another town account, their own separate, or is it a cemetery account?
Correct, and this was what the finance team's recommendation is on how to deal with this donation. Deal sounds insincere. To help assist with this donation.
Okay. Can I get a motion on this?
I move to accept the $2,000 gift and establish a cemetery assistance gift account under provisions of Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53A, as requested by the donor for the purpose of aiding those in need of financial assistance in procuring a burial lot in Green Cemetery under the administration of the cemetery superintendent and town administrator's office.
Second.
Thank you very much. Let's go ahead and take a voice vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any no votes? Okay. Let the record show we have a unanimous vote of yes. Okay. Ryan, what's next?
All right, I'm going to move through some capital projects and building project updates pretty quickly to respect your time. We will be filing a CPC grant application for covering the ADA compliant components of the connected Carlisle sidewalk project. We've teased this a couple times. We have vetted this with council and people who are familiar with CPC applications, and we believe about $100,000 of the sidewalk project is eligible for CPC funds. That's something you'll be considering in the future, but just giving you a update on how we're trying to cover the gaps in that project and make sure that it's complete. The annual road maintenance, or paving, as some people prefer to call it, is going to begin the week of September 21st. Again, this is Heald, Pope, South, North, Indian Hill, Autumn Lane, West Judy Farm, and drainage that you identified to assist the residents of Audubon Lane. The elevator modernization project is on schedule and on budget. This is being followed pretty carefully by Stephen Kearney, as you could expect, and we included a graphic that shows you what's upcoming for the elevator. We are still tracking that school one will be done on time for school to start, and then Town Hall will be next, followed by the library when they can fit it into their renovation schedule. And 4 CPS projects, Carlisle Public School projects, are out to bid right now. Fixing the retaining wall that anyone who's been up there can see needs repair. This is supported by a state earmark secured by Senator Barrett's office. Also, the main concrete stairway, which is on your capital plan, the classroom flooring project, and the facilities garage doors are all out to bid. We should have a strong update on the interest at your next meeting, and those projects should begin by the middle of October. Nothing on CPA projects to update you on. For the police station renovation, we are currently getting you the information necessary to understand when this project will be complete, but it does remain on budget. We're expecting a couple months addition on this project, and we're going to get that detail for you. I just sent an email about it tonight. The septic system is operational, which means we no longer need temporary facilities, and our police officers and dispatch were very happy about that. The fire station renovation, the construction has commenced. There was a kickoff meeting between CDI, CMS, who's your OPM, and your town staff. The initial focus is on well installation. The well is required for the building permit, and then you'll note that there has been significant clearing behind the old station. It looks like the project's well underway, but we're still in the permitting stage. And then initial conversations with CDI reiterated that any changes to the project need to be routed through your fire station building renovation committee directly to you, so you'll be updated in many different ways. We talked a lot about the DPW renovation tonight. Thank you for supporting the proposal, and we will get to work on the design. You can expect to see an update in about a month on programming, which will be a pretty interesting discussion where you'll want to weigh in, and we'll gain project solidarity and then move forward from there. My report includes a couple rotary sign notifications for you. Again, we approve these assuming that they are, not assuming, when they've been vetted for your policies and processes, and they are put in this report so that you can see that the signs you're seeing in the rotary have been approved. All right, for employee recognition, a lot from the facilities team. Facilities works like everyone does in Carlisle, but in the summer, really hard to get the school ready to go. A lot of repairs and cleaning is done at the schools, and then of course regular facilities goes on and on. So Steve, who is one of our facilities technicians, took the initiative to spearhead repairs at the school playground. He coordinated this with the DPW to complete the work. Their collaboration allowed the repair to be quick. Steve always goes above and beyond, especially in recent weeks, completing numerous projects quickly, accurately, and safely. And Stephen wanted to recognize him for that. He also wanted to thank Mark, who's taken on the school's demanding summer project schedule with professionalism and a positive attitude. This is a tremendous amount of extra work, but Mark does this every summer without any complaint, and it really helps us make sure that the school is ready to go. He's a focused and committed employee who keeps projects moving forward and identifies when there are issues immediately and shares them. So an invaluable employee. And finally, we'd like to recognize Tom, who maintains the school grounds. This often happens behind the scenes. He has been doing this for a while, and he has a very exquisite attention to detail. One recent example is the beautiful flower bed project that he created for the class of 2026. After helping prepare and hand level the area so that maintenance staff could construct the planting boxes, Tom has continued to water, weed, and care for them daily, keeping the landscaping looking exceptional. So just a small touch from an exceptional team and a hardworking team that we truly appreciate. Two ads that I need you to consider, if you're willing, tonight to my report. First, the fire chief is asking for you to declare the following capital surplus. So this is a requirement in procurement. When we no longer need something, you need to approve it for surplus, which means we can either sell it or give it away, depending on the value of the particular item. So there are three items from the fire department. First is the 2013 Ford Taurus Interceptor. This will become a training opportunity for the fire department. Also, the 2016 Chevy Tahoe that has been shared by police, DPW, and now the fire team. This will also be a training opportunity for the fire department. And then the two tents, you'll recognize these from the COVID era. These have to be removed. Rec is considering them right now for their projects. If not, we will be either selling these or donating them to a worthy cause. So I'll pause there. If you're willing to vote these three items surplus as presented, then we can handle those for you.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to clarify, you talk about the fire department, will they be using those cars for training? Is that it? They'll
Yeah.
light them on fire?
Jaws of
Yeah,
life.
you won't recognize them after they're done.
I think Jaws of Life, or actually lighting them on
Usually
fire.
cut them up.
Cut
They're
'em
gonna
up.
cut them up.
Okay.
Okay.
I wouldn't want them to light them on fire.
I can imagine there could be all manner of training potential there, but they're basically worthless. Then is there any, is there any value in giving
They're
them
not
to?
worth enough to fix, and the training value exceeds what we think we could get for them. So
I see. Okay.
that's the best way to use them.
Yeah. So is there a motion?
Do you need a motion?
Motion would be to declare the items from the fire department as presented surplus.
I move that we declare the items presented by the fire department as surplus items.
I'll second.
Great. Thank you very much. Okay, let's go ahead and take a voice vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any no votes? Okay, the ayes have it. Thank you very much, Ryan. And what was the other?
Yep, one more late breaking but important topic. So this is a summary of the information that I sent to the MFC about our house doctor procurement. The house doctor firms we use are architect, building envelope, and mechanical, electrical, and fire protection engineering firms. The reason why we call them house doctor is they're on call. The MFC uses them a lot to identify the costs and potentially design related to projects that are important to the town. We've used them for a variety of capital projects. It's easier than procuring a designer for every single project, which is why we went to this legal procurement process. So we wanted to do it again. According to your design procurement policy, we need to assemble a DSC, which is a working group created by me. We did that, and we advertised for new house doctor contracts, 3-year contracts. We received a lot of interest this year, way more than we did 3 years ago. So 17 architect proposals were looked through, 9 building envelope, and 10 MEP firm. Our DSC, our committee, had 3 or 4 meetings about this where we went through each proposal, scored them, and then created a list of finalists and then checked references. We then transmitted that information, and each one was scored on the following criteria: experience, quality of services, professional qualifications, references, their capacity and timeliness, their responsiveness to our needs as identified in a proposal, and their financial stability. So the DSC narrowed this down to the firms, as I said, and did reference checks and transmitted the following list to the MFC for their discussion. For MEP, GGD, BLW, and Weston & Sampson were selected. 2 of those firms we work with currently under house doctor contracts, and Weston & Sampson we work with for the wastewater treatment plant, and you saw them tonight. For building envelope, we had two, H&A and GRLA. These would be new building envelope firms. And then for architectural firms, three were identified: GNAP, H&A, and LLB. We are currently working with GNAP on the Bog House, but this would put them under a house doctor contract for architectural. The other two firms we have not worked with. There is one advantage here that H&A provides building envelope and architect services in case we ever need those concurrently. The MFC looked at this and looked at the work of the DSC and decided that they didn't need to interview firms. And the way we would use these firms moving forward is any project we would bid them out to the firms that were selected. They would give us a proposal to make it price competitive, assuming they have the capacity to do the project, and then they would return a proposal for us that we would use under this consideration. So if you are willing to approve this slate, there is no money attached to this right now. It is just these firms are contracted to provide potential services, but they would be used for capital considerations in the future by the MFC.
Okay, that sounds fine. We can go ahead and we'll take a motion on that in a moment. But Ryan, can I ask if these two late breaking items, is it possible to retroactively get these into the packet so that we have these in writing and we can refer to them later?
Yep.
Thank you. Okay, and can we get a motion on this?
Sure, I move that we accept the house doctor firms as recommended by the town administrator in his presentation tonight. And actually, Ryan, I was at the the Municipal Facilities Committee. We basically said we didn't need a further review of them. We accepted them. I'd have forgotten, did we do a motion on that? Or did we just, we did, yeah. Sorry, I didn't remember I was there. But so yes, I would make that motion then here as well, to accept these.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you very much. Let's go ahead and take a voice vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any no votes? Okay. Let the record show that we have a unanimous vote. Ryan, is there anything else?
That's it. Thank you to that DSC. That was a ton of work, volunteer work. Aubrey was on that committee, so she can tell you how tedious
Julie.
it was, but good.
Julie's
and
still here
necessary.
too. She's hiding. Oh, and Rebecca too. Sorry.
Oh, yes.
I missed the last meeting.
We're all here.
We blessed your work. It was good work.
Thank you very much, you guys.
That's my report. Thank you.
Thank you very much.